He'd lost his place in the team, to be honest, for someone who lost his place in the Portugal team at the World Cup as well.
João Cancelo leaving City on loan to Bayern Munich.
To be almost as good as a centre-back than a right-back, so Pavard, Stanisic, there's no room for Cancelo.
João Cancelo has had one of the most up-and-down careers of any fullback in recent history. He went from being in the PFA Team of the Year in 2021 and 2022 to rejected at City just months after, and then benched again on his move to Bayern that was meant to revive his career. But when he stepped on the pitch in this moment, he would flip the script and save his reputation forever. But before we admire that game, we first have to look at how he got there. For most of his early years, João's life seemed like that of most young footballers. He starred for his local team and became very well known in town before getting picked up by a scout from Benfica. And after that, he was quickly signed to Benfica and strapping up his boots for one of the best academy teams in the world. And though at the time his footballing life was very exciting, you can't say the same about his life at home. He came from very modest means in Portugal, where his father had to work a job in Switzerland to help pay the bills, and his mother had to work 3 different jobs to help pay the bills as well, even though they lived at his grandparents' house. And though on some days João's mother only got to see him at dinner time, their bond was very strong. He remembers that she would always find the time to bring him to training. His family was incredibly supportive of his footballing dreams, and that would eventually pay off for them when he made his senior debut for Benfica in 2017. But sadly, his mother would never get the chance to see him on that stage, as before he was able to make his debut, he and his family were caught in a terrible car crash that would sadly take his mother's life. At 18 years old, João needed to be the breadwinner for the family because his father could no longer go to Switzerland. And even though while on the pitch, João's heart may have been in another place, João still shone brightly on the field. Because at 20 years old, João earned himself a move to La Liga outfit Valencia. And here, his expertise would begin to shine. After a few years of finding his footing, the attack-minded, flair-filled fullback was born. And then at 23, just a few years later, he earned a loan move to Inter Milan, where he would be the first Portuguese player in history to be included in the Serie A team of the season. The João Cancelo name was now on the map for a lot of teams. And after his Inter Milan move, he earned a move to Juventus for 40 million euros, making him one of the most expensive fullbacks in history. At Juve, he would join Cristiano and help lead La Vecchia Signora to their 8th consecutive league title. And for the 2nd year in a row, he was included in the Serie A team of the season. And after just 1 year at Juve, his expertise was recognized by probably one of the best teams in the world, Manchester City, and he would make the world record transfer fee for a fullback that summer. 65 million euros from Juve to Manchester City. Also, only 1% of you are subscribed, so subscribe and turn on the notifications bell to make sure you don't miss any more of my videos. And it was at City that João became the best fullback in the world. In that system, João unlocked his creativity and talent in ways rarely seen before by another player. Sure, he wasn't the best defensively, but it's hard to get upset when he is creating a very big chance every single game. His capacity offensively was more than worth the trade-offs that came with his game defensively. And his talents were absolutely recognized by the rest of the league, because in his 2 of his first 3 seasons at City, he was included in the PFA Team of the Season and was one of the most important players to Man City's titles in 2 of those years. And it was the exact same story at the beginning of the 22-23 season. João was performing at his best with City yet again, getting assists and netting goals and starting nearly every single one of City's matches. But after the World Cup in Qatar, something went awry that would seemingly scar João's, the family man, the flourishing fullback's reputation forever. After being a mainstay in every single team he has been a part of since he turned pro, he was now seen on the bench for City. Pep seemingly just did not need him. And João, being the confident and ambitious player that we've come to know so far, made it known that he was upset. And Pep, being the kind of coach he is not going to let that stir up his dressing room or mess with the way he wants to play his football. And that's partially what makes him such a good coach. But that's also what led to João wanting to leave. This is where Bayern Munich comes in. In Munich, this looked like a shoo-in for João to log regular minutes and continue playing top-level Champions League football the way he wanted to. But after just 3 games of starting, he was back on the bench at Bayern now. And whether this was due to Nagelmann's 3-at-the-back tactics or João's terrible work rate at practice, we can't know for sure. But for whatever reason, he was on the bench again. João Cancelo yet again found himself as the scapegoat for the media, and his reputation was continually declining. And though he would perform admirably on the attack when he did play, it was a very similar story. A lot of time on the bench. And so when it came time for Bayern to purchase him or send him back to Pep, they happily boxed him up and shipped him right off to Manchester instead of fulfilling his $61 million option to buy. So now he was back. The once best attacking fullback in the world had just fallen out at 2 clubs in 3 months. And all the excitement and joy that he brought to the fans just a year earlier seemingly was all forgotten. But lucky enough for him, there was a very struggling club just a few thousand kilometers south of him that just so happened to need a right back and also be João's favorite boyhood club, Barcelona. And though the team desperately needed a right back, there was a lot of concern about João's attitude. Could he cut it for Barcelona, or would he just be a problem? Barcelona has had too many issues with too many troublesome players over the years. Could they turn this around? Well, Barcelona has a pretty good track record of going for players out of favor at their clubs and turning them around while they play for the Blaugrana. Recently, there was Aubameyang, who had a lot of trouble at Chelsea, and then quickly, the second he came to Barcelona, shined so brightly and filled in a spot in the team that was so important and really fit in well with the team. He was left rejected and benched, just like João, who came to Barca and then had the time of his life, building very solid bonds with the team around him. Then in less recent history, there's also Arturo Vidal and Luis Suarez. Both players came with plenty of baggage and issues, but they performed admirably at the club, and to this day, they're still remembered very fondly for that. There's just something about Barcelona that brings out the best in players. Maybe it's the Camp Nou and the beautiful city, or maybe it's that these players are playing for one of the most historic teams in football history and want to do whatever they can to be a strong cog in the machine of the team. But whatever it is, something changes in a lot of these players. They just fit in. And though João had a lot of issues beforehand, he also fit the bill of someone who would fit in perfectly in the team and want to fit in, because from a very early age, João was a very big fan of Barcelona. He rejected a ton of money to join Barcelona, to join his boyhood club, because he wanted to make his dreams a reality. The dreams I'm sure he shared with his mother as they walked to training early in his career. João made an emotional decision to join Barcelona instead of a financial one, or maybe even a sporting one, to a more successful team. But from what we know about João, from when he had to support his family, to moving to Manchester City and moving all over the world to play football and always succeeding, is that he thrives with pressure on his shoulders. And at Barcelona, he was going to have a lot of it, and I think that's what he wanted. With Barca's great reputation, their international pull, and their huge fan base, whatever their fans think of a player will be the reputation that that player holds for most of history. So when João stepped on the pitch that day for Xavi's team, he would have the chance to rewrite his history, to change his reputation, to go back to being that wonderfully creative and talented player that everyone had gotten so much joy out of watching. Sure, João Cancelo has had an incredible career so far, with a lot of success. But these next few years, and this year probably specifically, is going to be incredibly important. But I'm very excited to watch it, and I just hope that you are as well. But thank you for watching this video, and if you did enjoy, why don't you slide on over to my last video, which was all about what João Felix coming to Barcelona could mean for the team. It's a very exciting time for him as well. Spoiler alert, it might not be as amazing as it seems right now. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.